Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's Richard, founder of Short Term Rental University and Airbnb Superhost, and today we have a super inspiring and interesting person, business opportunity, short-term rental, boutique hotel, but much more than that. It's about changing people's lives and their accessibility to all of the wonderful things that we enjoy. So please welcome Sarah Foley from verticalblonde.com, who has such an amazing story. I really encourage you to pay attention to this entire thing because it could change your life, and you in turn could play it forward and change many other people's lives. So by way of introduction, Eric and I first saw, we didn't meet Sarah, but we saw her at the Unleash the Power Within event in Dallas. She was sitting right up front and center in her chair, and we were just amazed by how much energy she brought, and she was participating, and it was really inspiring, but from afar. And then we had the opportunity, we just met her yesterday at the Tony Robbins Platinum event, where we learned a little bit more about her story, and it was really interesting and compelling, and I see tons of opportunity to change lives, to create businesses that focus on this opportunity, and I just really encourage you to pay close attention, because not only can it positively impact your immediate community, it can impact the lives of many people going forward, and that's what it's all about. So without further ado, Sarah, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here. I'm really excited to share just this entire process about accessibility and just really what I call equalizing the experience for everyone.
And one of the things that I think is so remarkable about that is that I never really thought about it as far as equality, because when Sarah and I first started speaking yesterday, it was all about, you know, well, we've got code and we do all the stuff that is required by code, and you made a really great distinction, and maybe you can share it with the audience, which is code is great, but it's not nearly enough. So what are some of the things that happen in that life?
Code is baseline. That's kind of what I think. Like, code is that should be a no-brainer, and unfortunately it's missed time and time again from places that say they are up to standard. So hotels especially, restaurants, a perfect example is I may go to a nice restaurant, this has actually happened, go to a nice restaurant and I'll ask where the entrance is so that I can get up the stairs, right? There's stairs at the front door, and they'll say, well, the handicap entrance is in the back. You've got to go around the corner of the building, into the back, and you're gonna come up through the kitchen and then into the restaurant.
Which is quite romantic,
that is
right?
So romantic.
When you and your husband,
you're dressed up.
Right.
It's awful. Your experience is like on the floor before you even get to your seat. And I think that, you know, I just don't think that the thought really goes through of the emotional side of things. You know, it's like, yeah, we're up to code. We have a ramp. We have an accessible entrance to our establishment. It doesn't matter that it's through the restaurant or through the kitchen.
Right, and one of the things that you shared with me yesterday was here at the Ritz on Maui, to get to the pool, you had to take literally the furthest, most circuitous route imaginable. So the person with the accessibility challenge also has to go the furthest and the most distance.
Yes. Yep, that is also pretty standard, right? So like we come into the front door, the lobby, it's awesome, it's beautiful. We want to get down to the, you know, there's multiple levels there of the pool, and it's like I got to go all the way around, down the elevators to the bottom of the pool, and then up a series of ramps to the level of the pool that I want. And it's just those, again, those things that I think it'd be a really great opportunity for business owners to even just take a seat in a wheelchair. Right. See what it's like. Our mayor here on Maui actually did that and went through Paia, which is historical. It's got a lot of challenges accessibility-wise, but it was great for him to experience that. And I'll never forget meeting him and actually talking to him about it. And he said, yeah, and then those doors in the bathroom, he's like, when they open inwards, he's like, I couldn't get out of it. I got stuck. And just the way that the door opens makes all the difference.
Now, you said something that was really moving to me yesterday, and then part of the reason I think that it resonated so much, which was that before you became disabled, and that's probably not the right word, right? Like, educate us on what words we should use, because honestly, I'm trying my best, but I'm inexperienced, I'm immature, I don't know, no one's taught me.
Right, ignorant.
Everyone is exactly in the same situation,
so let's just,
and that's where I was. Okay, so 7 years ago is when I had my injury. So quick synopsis, I was on a four-wheeler, went off the trail to kind of avoid a collision. My front wheels caught the ditch and I started flipping. landed on me a couple times, paralyzed me instantly. So from the waist down, I've got no movement, no feeling, absolutely nothing. So my wheels are my legs. Like, this wheelchair is a huge blessing to me. So it gives me incredible independence. But prior to that, in my head, it was like anyone with a disability was not employed. They were maybe overweight or really weak, one or the other. They didn't take care of themselves, usually elderly. These were the only visuals I had of disability.
And or perhaps even born that way, and that was the life that they knew, right?
Right. Like, I didn't really know what a spinal cord injury was.
Right.
I didn't know that that could even occur. So, and a great example is my husband, who's now 45, when he was 13, broke his femur. Because of that, he was still able to get a handicap placard for his parking, which we would use at concerts all the time. Park right up front, and in my head, I'm like, no one in a wheelchair is gonna come see like a rock concert.
Right.
But I go to rock concerts now, like, yes, we do.
Right.
So, and so we would use that for front row parking. Obviously, I'm not super proud of that, just pretty ashamed, but I think it does paint a very clear picture that people just don't know it until they've experienced it. So you've got it firsthand, you've got it in your friend's family. Until you actually witness that in your own circle, it's just not common. So we're not educated. And I say that also to really remind the disability community of that. Because I think that, we've got a lot of challenges, and that can be met with a lot of anger, and they get really frustrated, and then they get pissed off that the world's not set up easy for them. But we gotta just educate, and we gotta do it with a smile, and we gotta remember that everyone's starting somewhere different as far as knowledge. So perfect opportunity for that. Disabled, I'm not disabled, but I have a disability. So it's just kind of the way that we can speak to people. It takes kind of that edge off that I'm actually pretty capable if you think about it. So I've got a little boy, run after him. I drive a convertible, I get in and out of it by myself. I drive with hand controls. I'm super capable. So.
And for instance, you're on like the Tony Robbins podcast, which many people with no disabilities or a handicap or anything are doing.
So excited.
So you're absolutely shining and radiant. And why don't you share with her and the audience one of the comments that you said when we were discussing last night about what a great message it was, as far as the way that she presents this versus the way that perhaps other people do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was just so non-abrasive and so forgiving. I mean, it was just in such a loving way where it really opened up, the conversation, and we felt really comfortable, asking further questions and wanting to dive in, as well as just, being totally inspired. And one of the things I missed in his introduction is she's just a beautiful human. Like, I want to look at her chair, no chair, whatever. Like, she's
oh my God, I love
human.
you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
So, and that's what I noticed at Tony Robbins more than anything when I saw you on the big screen was, holy smokes, what a hottie.
Oh, thank you so much. That feels good to hear. I think we, I just hosted this event for women with disabilities. It was all spinal cord injuries, and we had some tumors on the spine, different things that had come up. But we were all in wheelchairs, about the same abilities as me, and we did these really great photo shoots where we actually did them without a top on, from behind, and we wrote words across our backs. 4 negative, 4 positive. We did this breathing exercise. First we said, these 4 words that you want to get rid of in your language to yourself, these 4 negative ones. And we took the photo and said, how does it feel when I call you undesirable, abandoned, burden, needy? These really ugly words that we with disabilities say to ourselves all the time. And then we did this great breathing exercise where we smeared them across our back. So this is the last time we're going to breathe this word to ourselves. And then we wrote 4 positive words.
Amazing.
And we really embraced those words. So as I watched this beautiful, beautiful woman getting her photo done, she's gorgeous, and she's got the word undesirable on her back. And I know how that feels. I know how it feels to look in the mirror and see something and feel something totally different. So there's a healing aspect that really has to happen, that we get to see ourselves differently. And a big part of that is by other people seeing us differently too.
Right.
And
that's why we want to do this, right? Because honestly, you're such a beautiful person and positive, and it wasn't at all, victimization or you need to do this or
Yeah.
you need to learn that. We just engaged in a normal dialogue
was
as
great.
if there was no disability whatsoever, as if there was no wheelchair, and that was really remarkable. I mean, there was, a little bit of like the elephant in the room, and I didn't know what to say or how to say it.
Yeah.
But you were so warm and radiant that you invited us into the conversation, and then it was just my problem, right? It was just like, well, I don't know what to do, but quickly we got all over that and past that, and I love the fact that you're here. She's traveled over an hour to come here. There's brush fires, so what was an hour is like 2 hours. So
It was a nice drive in the convertible. I don't
See,
care.
look at the positivity. I mean, how many of us,
Right.
I saw something on Instagram once where somebody had a disability, and I don't remember what it was, maybe limbs missing or something
Okay.
like that. And the question was, how can you be so upbeat? And the gentleman's response was, how can you with all of your limbs be so negative?
Right. Touche.
Right? Like-
It's so well said. So well said. And it's all perspective. And I've gone through a lot of healing through my journey. And I'll never forget the moment. I work with a therapist every Friday. If you don't have a therapist, get a therapist.
Right.
Everybody, no matter what point in their life, needs a therapist and a life coach, bottom line. But I'll never forget, she says, you've really reached this area of post-traumatic growth, where you actually see so much beauty in your life and you have elevated yourself to this level because of all the crap that you've gone through. And it is true. Bottom line,
I just got chills down.
I'm so
did you?
glad.
Right? Like I literally just got chills. You can either take this stuff and have it be a negative and be the victim and angry and play small, or you can say, this is my new reality. This happened for a purpose. There's a lesson to be learned here. And now you start to contribute, right? So
Now you're an educator.
yes, absolutely. It feels so good.
Which is
And
amazing.
that's how, Vertical Blonde came about.
Tell us about Vertical Blonde.
So I am a big believer that your words have so much merit to what happens, right? So when I began this blog as just kind of a way to document this healing journey once we moved to Maui about almost 3 years ago now. I wanted something catchy. I'm always known for my blonde hair, but I wanted to be vertical again. I thought that I'd get to Maui, the island would heal me, and I would walk again. So I'm like, vertical blonde. I would just say that over and over and over. And it slowly became this mindset, this shift of every single thing in our life can elevate us. It is there for us. We can use it. We can learn from it. We can grow from it. We can get wiser. We can get a new perspective. We can get more grateful, all of these things. And so it just became this beautiful mindset. So now I live vertically. I live with this intention that everything, every conversation, those conversations like we had that started this, I'm so grateful for it, because I'm like, finally, we can get through when it is met this way.
Right.
When I don't have this big barrier up of fix it world, your problem, make it accessible for me. When that barrier is gone and that anger is gone, and we all just get to huddle together and say, I want to be part of the group. You want to be part of the group? Let's get me there. We
Right.
got to find a way.
Right.
So it's equal for everybody.
And so in that equality, yesterday we were discussing some of the developments that I'm working on, and I started off with, we have, the rooms and the code and so on, and that's when you gave me the examples and opened the dialogue. But, one of the most interesting light bulb moments for me was the business opportunity set, not to turn this into a business conversation, but we do teach entrepreneurs how to be successful and how to niche down, right? Like know who you're speaking to. And so there's probably people watching this or listening to this that would see an opportunity. Maybe they have a relative or a child, or they themselves are disabled. But when you look at an Airbnb thank you.
You're good. You're good. See, we're all learning.
Teamwork.
Win-win.
Right.
It's a win-win.
But when you do a search and you are trying to travel, hotels are challenging. Are Airbnbs any better?
Absolutely not. I rarely can stay in one, and that is really a bummer, because I travel a lot with my son, just him and I need it fully accessible. He's 4. Can't do much yet. I look forward to the day that man can carry me across the sand. But when I am looking to stay somewhere, usually a hotel is the way to go. Unfortunately, but I wish that wasn't the case. I wish I could get to different places. Wish I could know that there was a different standard. For me, it's again, it's just that experience is equal. So as I was thinking about this last night, this is a huge business opportunity.
Exactly.
Like I want to stress that to your viewers. This is a massive business opportunity. Let me tell you why, because there is literally an inclusion revolution happening right now. It is everywhere, and you're going to see it more and more. Even in Hollywood, there's this massive push that now if the character has a disability, it is played by someone with that disability. And there's going to be a bigger and bigger push across the board in that same arena where people, you just don't want to leave anyone out.
Right.
You know,
Well, why would you?
Why would
but
you?
But it's not a forethought, right?
Nope.
It's not in the fore of our mind.
It's not in the forethought. So there are ADA standards, Americans with Disability Act standards. That is how close the toilet is to the wall, how high the toilet is. Are there bars around the toilet so that I can get on and off with ease? These are things that is like bottom of the barrel standard. And then there is another standard where I go into the bathroom and I can only see this much of my head because the mirror is placed too high. And the magnifying makeup mirror is too high for me to even pull down, so I'm doing my makeup like this. So I have to always travel with mirrors with me. That shouldn't be something I have to even travel with. I have to travel with a sliding board because 9 times out of 10, even in the hotels, the bed is too high. I can't get on the bed by myself. Simple, simple fixes. And I want to give someone at the Ritz a big kudos and a big hug because my experience here was so beautiful. I had a different key slot for my key that was in the wall, not the door. When I did that, it automatically opened.
Wow.
It was an automatic door opener. I was like, this is bliss. And then I rolled in and it was hardwood floors. Do you know how hard it is to roll all day long on this carpet?
On carpet, yeah.
It's exhausting. And for whatever reason, did you notice when we were coming down the hall, I kind of zigzagged?
Yeah.
The carpet is like this, I swear. And I am
it has, like,
all
bumps?
over the place. Yeah, it's sideways. It's funny. And it happens in hotels.
You were nervous and you had a couple drinks.
I'm like, woo! Yeah, and it seems to be like that a lot at hotels, and casinos are really bad. So simple things like that are huge. So, okay, so back to the Airbnb. I want to circle back. So and I want you to do this on your own listings, because
Okay.
this is a really great, just kind of lesson.
Yeah.
So if you go through and put all your filters, the same filters where your listing would come up.
Right.
What's your most popular listing? Where's it at?
All of them.
All of them.
Well, let's just say Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Okay, so Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And you've got maybe 2-bedroom, 2-bath, you've got all your standards, price point. If you were to do a search for your listing, about how many comparables would come up in that listing?
A couple of hundred.
Couple hundred. I guarantee you click the box for wheelchair accessible, you're down to 4. 4.
That's if they're not booked.
If they're not
Chances are they're booked.
And take a look at the quality of those wheelchair accessible. They're usually the bottom of the barrel.
Right.
They're the ones that you don't want to book.
Friends, I hope you found this video helpful. YouTube has been such a blessing for me because it's allowed me to educate and inspire hundreds of thousands of short-term rental hosts just like you. If you haven't noticed, I have hundreds of videos on my YouTube channel teaching Airbnb hosts a plethora of do's and don'ts. But when you're just starting out, it can be extremely overwhelming. You're probably thinking, what exactly do I do? Or like, where do I start? Well, if that's the case, I have a shortcut for you, and it's a sweet deal. For a very limited time, I'm giving away free access to an exclusive training video where I teach you the most important part of running any Airbnb business, no matter how big or small. The things you'll learn in this training are not available on my YouTube channel. In fact, it's a critical segment of my flagship course that sells for over $2,000. So if you want exclusive access to this training today, so you can block out the noise and get clear on what's most important for you in your Airbnb business, then click on the button on this video or visit str.university/training. Again, that's str.university/training. Remember, this is a part of my flagship $2,000 course, and it won't be available for much longer. Simply click the button below to claim it for free right now.